Hey, it's Benji Cole, son of Al Cole from CBS Radio, welcoming you to another edition of People of Distinction, the talk that gives an in-depth view of some of the most dynamic, intelligent, and successful people on the planet. Run to our website, peopleofdistinction.org, for more info, or you can always email me directly at benji@alcoleenterprises.com. And on the line with us today, we have Michael J. Goodman. We'll be discussing his fantastic book, Life's Calendar, available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or if you guys want to get everything that Michael has to offer, do yourself a favor and go directly to his personal site, lifescalendar.net. There, not only will you find more information on Michael himself, you'll find more information on his book, Life's Calendar, as well as find hyperlinks set up to take you to the purchasing page. Now, guys, be aware that when you go to his Amazon page or his Barnes & Noble pages for purchase, be aware that there's actually going to be a price drop in the near future, okay? So keep that in mind. Hold off until around June when the price drops. This way, you can get the best deal on the book. So one more time, that's his personal website, lifescalendar.net. And his book will be available at Amazon and Barnes & Noble, and wait for June for the price to come down. And I will say, Michael was brought to our network, People of Distinction, today by some of the best movers in the business, Ingress Advertising Publishing. So if you have a book that you'd like moved, move it through Ingress. You can find them at ingressadvertising.com. So without further ado, let's bring him here on the line with us. Michael, first and foremost, thank you so much for being a guest with us today on People of Distinction. How are you?
Benji, it's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for your introduction and kind words, and I'm ready to talk about Life's Calendar. It's really a calendar for your entire life. You were speaking earlier about weeks and months and that type of thing, day by day, and you could do that in your Life's Calendar, but it's really more big picture stuff. It's there's a calendar with 100 pages and 100 years in this book. That's part of your whole life. Instead of just planning week by week or month by month, you've got everything in here, and that's the way that works.
Mm-hmm. Now, before we go into the book, let's hold off slightly. Start by articulating to our listening audience a little bit more about yourself.
Okay. Well, again, my name's Michael Goodman. I'm a landscape architect. I spent the first 50 years of my life in Barrington, Illinois, which is about 45 minutes outside of Chicago. And I designed and installed landscapes, paradise for people. That was my motif, was to meet a client, usually upper end, higher end clients, and say, this is what we could do for you, and this is about what it would cost. What do you think? And they'd steer me the right direction, and then I designed, as a landscape architect, I designed the plant material and the water features and the lighting and the different things like that, and come up with a contract and present it, and then we build it and make a piece of paradise for individual families' homes, and it's a great career. But I was telling you earlier, I have multiple sclerosis, and part of my disease is I'm very heat sensitive and cold sensitive as well. So if you ever lived in the greater Chicago area, you'd say, you probably don't want to live here anymore, because it gets really hot and humid in the summer, and it gets cold and snowy and awful in the winter. And so I moved to Southern California. I live on Coronado Island with my wife now, and anyways, I got off track a little bit, but that's where we're at.
Now, Michael, without further ado, Life's Calendar. Tell us a little bit more about your book.
Well, what happened early on, 25 years ago, or I ended up having a son, and his name was Keaton. And when he got to age 10 or so, I'm trying to keep up with, I'm a first-time parent trying to figure out how do I do this? What do I do exactly for this kid? I want to do the best job I can, and teach him to be a gentleman and to grow up and respect the law and be kind to people and this type of thing. And I'm a Presbyterian. I'm part of my church, and that venue has been great for me as well. And I wanted to be part of our family, so I needed to put something together for him that So I started taking notes and putting together timing things and different arrangements for him to plan his time and put this together and that together. And pretty soon the 1 week calendar was too small, and 1 month was too small, and so now it was time we should go as far as a year. And so I used my ability as a contractor and landscape architect and the experience I've picked up to come up with a calendar that was just right for him and would help him manage his sports and his school and his life at home and so forth. And one thing after another, this ended up getting turned into Page Publishing, my manuscript, and turned into the book Life's Calendar that we're talking about now. So that's how it came around. And this process helped Keaton out when he was young, and has improved as time has gone on. We all get older, and we all learn about what's going to help, and so that's worked out real well.
Really, I'm curious, as I'm sure my listening audience is as well. Everybody is familiar with a calendar or a daily planner. And usually when you break it down into smaller chunks like that, it makes it very easy and much more manageable to take on the tasks that you have ahead. Now, I'm curious, how is your book established to take on yearly tasks? I mean, what is the breakdown? Is it really just the major events that you're looking to hit within that year? Articulate a little bit more in detail to how someone can plan their entire life with this calendar.
Right. Well, none of us are ready to plan the rest of our life right now. Mm-hmm. We get into it, and it evolves as we grow and change. But Life's Calendar is a 100-year calendar. Each page in this 100 years is 12 months. 1, 2, 3, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, and so forth. And then opposite this 1-year calendar is a to-do list. And so you can make your, big picture ideas for that year on your to-do list. And then you can go to the next year, the next page, and the next to-do list. And basically what you're doing is building a autobiography for yourself, because you're keeping track of your whole life. You're planning things as you go and keeping track of what you're doing, your relationships that you develop, your ideas that you have. There's even a portion in here where you can fill out result pages. if you want a certain result, you have a page for that. You write down this result you're looking to have, happen. Like maybe in school, you want to get a degree, a bachelor's degree. So, what are you going to have to do to get this bachelor's degree? And how long is it going to take? Are you going to do the typical 4-year thing, or are you going to be going at night? And how much is it going to cost? And so you put some of these things in your life calendar. You start inserting these actions that make these things happen into your life calendar, like to test or to get money or, to build the things that are going to make this, let's say, this bachelor's degree happen. How long is it going to take you? Is it 4 years? Do you need a year to save before you can start this whole thing? And that's how that particular thing would happen. And you get these result pages filled out with all those details in there that, those actions that you have to take. And then you can insert those actions into your life calendar and figure out how much it's going to cost and when you're going to have to do it and this type of thing. So it's a big picture look at your life. You still need your weekly calendar and your monthly calendar for your day-to-day kind of things. But for the big picture in your home, I recommend people keep it in their dining room or in their kitchen. And if it's with a child, they can just open the life calendar on the weekends on the dining room table and take care of the big picture stuff.
Guys, again, here on the line with Michael J. Goodman. We're discussing his fantastic book, Life's Calendar, available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or directly through his personal site, lifescalendar.net. And again, keep in mind that when you go there, in June, there will be a price drop. So continue to check in frequently to make sure that you're getting the best deal possible. Now, Michael, next question that I'd love to go into, and thank you so much because there's been so much great information and very valuable information that we've learned thus far. Now, I want to go back to the concept of inspiration. Now, I know you already started to go into it before, and really you told us what inspired you to embark upon this journey and really how it started with something that you created with your son, or really through and for your son. Now, articulate to our listening audience, Michael, why didn't it stop there? What did you see that made you feel compelled to put this book out for the public to be able to partake in as well?
Well, as I was thinking about Keaton's youth and how I can build this book or this manuscript for him to grow up and be a good man, and no pun intended, and live his life, I started to think a lot about my childhood. And no one ever gave me a book and said, here, do this, do that, stay here, stay there, and this year, next year. And, and when I finished Life's Calendar, you can open it up and you can see your whole life. And it lets, lets youth and younger people kind of understand down the road. We're going to finish high school, and then we're planning. It's probably best to go to college if that's what you choose to do, and and then you might go to graduate school, and you might get your doctorate, and what do you really love? What do you want to go after? Because so many people go to college and get into it for 2 or 3 years and think, boy, what's my job going to be when I'm done? Mm-hmm. I don't even know. And I'm going to have a degree, and boy, you need that to even apply anywhere. But what's my job going to be? And the object with Life's Calendar, as I went, was that it's important to plan ahead and think about, why are you going to go to college? What do you really love? How do you want to spend the rest of your life? And thinking about it in advance is a best way to, to make it happen the way you want it to happen, instead of just showing up at, like for me, I went to the junior college. I went to Barron High School and got my degree, and then I went to junior college, and it just wasn't my thing. I couldn't do it. And I didn't want to be a little rat. I wanted to be a gentleman and grow up. So I ended up joining the Army Reserves, and I became a military police officer. And I grew from the Army and then continued my education. I spent some time overseas during the Iran-Contra affair as an MP. And it was just a great way to, go about those things of finding what I really love. And I found out that what I really love was plant material and creating paradise for someone. So that's what I ended up doing. And I wanted my son to have the same opportunity, think ahead and find out what he loves before he goes and gets an education that he doesn't even know what it's for.
Mm-hmm.
Get educated for what you love. And then, if you, like everyone said before, if you love what you do for work, you'll never work a day in your life.
Guys, what more can be said? I mean, you know what you got to do. Listen, we know that it's very common for people to organize their day-to-day lives. It's very common for people to have a month-to-month calendar. One of the common questions that is always asked of any high schooler, of any college student is, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? Well, why can't the question also be posed to, where do you see your life going? How do you see your life growing, changing, developing over the next 40 years, the next 50 years and above? Listen, what Michael is talking about is just that. This is not far-fetched. Just because it's an uncommon practice doesn't mean that it shouldn't be something that is implemented. And I'm all for it. I mean, after hearing what he has to say, there's so much value in knowing. So you know what you got to do. Head on over to Amazon, Barnes & Noble, lifescalendar.net, and pick up your copy of this fantastic book. And remember, check back in frequently and wait for that price to drop. Let's grow, let's develop, let's educate ourselves, and let's make sure that we're planning it all out ahead of time. Michael, this has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you once again for being a guest with us today on People of Distinction.
True pleasure. Thank you very much. And I think we said what we had to say. I mean, trying to figure out how to write a book about life and someone's life is pretty detailed, and it ended up being a lot of questions for what do you want to do? What do you love? And then, producing this format for people to plan it. And it starts best when they're young and when they before they really get to into life, before they start school even, is to get a life's calendar and start working with your parents to plan how life's going to turn out. So that if you plan a great thing will happen. And if you don't, it won't. So anyways, thank you so much, Benji. I appreciate your time.